Not every day you get a screenshot of your old college during a replay. So big shout out to UNOH and the racers. Today, take out a free room here. Today we are racing this NSU TTS, and this is a replay. I kind of new to this whole thing, but this is a replay of a race I did. These cars, I don't know much about them. I don't know if it's a rally car. I don't know if it is a I don't know if it's a hill climb car. I have no idea. But these things only have suspension and final drive changes. And the only changes I made to mine was a little bit of a camber change and some PSI change to try to keep the contact patch square on the asphalt. So I raced these cars at Brands Hatch and had a complete blast. And while I was racing, I was like, man, you know what? My inner NASCAR fanboy self, I was like, man, let's take these things to Daytona and just their level. You know, it's not like Gran Turismo or Forza. You do engine swaps, or you spend thousands of dollars on an N200 car, and now it's an N600 car, and you're taking on GT3s. You know, these are there is nothing. It is just suspension and transmission. So I qualified for this race and qualified third, but that was tailing the draft. And I felt, man, you know, tailing the draft to get to third, that's cool. We're going to need all the draft we can get. But, okay, let's, instead of that, scrap that and do a last to first challenge. And that is what you were seeing here. I did not make it to first. I ran, just simply put, 100% ran out of time. And quite honestly, I don't even think I even had a first place car. I was super reliant on the draft, which brings back memories from my childhood of playing NASCAR with my best friend. So, you know, really super reliant on the draft. So on this, we really had to pick and choose as we were racing up through the field. You had to leave one draft and already be seeing sights on another car to try to snag onto their draft. And a couple instances I didn't do that, and I did end up paying the price for it. So I ended up P2. I had to give up P2 because I lost the draft for P1. So I backed to P3 and hooked up with the P2 car and well, just hung out there the rest of the race. This race was fun. I really think what would have been beneficial was another car, another player, or even AI that could have just stayed with you, so you didn't have to hunt and peck here, and did the old time two-car tandem all the way to the front. I think it was possible. I really do think it would have been possible with these cars to link up to a two-car tandem. The thing is, these things are between the pack and gaining spots and losing spots is so narrow. So narrow. As you can see here, nice kind of a pass down on the inside. I don't think this one's successful. I think I end up having to fight for those spots again. But the cars here are just so equal. I think a two-car tandem would have really been successful, pushed to the front. That window is less than 4 miles an hour, and it makes you, as somebody who used to watch NASCAR a lot, it makes you really think, man, when they say out of the draft, this is exactly what they mean, out of the draft. So your window, you need to be about 119, 120, 121, that's right on the limiter, in order to keep pace with everybody. As soon as you drop down below that, you dip down out of the draft for whatever reason, and you're just getting freight trained. And so with these, it's not necessarily a freight train because we're not really actually going that fast. But as you can see, having to trail or chase the draft to try to keep the engine and the car moving a pretty decent pace to keep up with the pack. I don't know how some of these cars are so much faster than I am outside of the draft because there is no more changes. I literally brought just enough fuel to make it to the end. I think I finished the race with like maybe a gallon or less of fuel. So some of these cars that I was competing against, I don't know how they were any faster because the gear is as topped out as can go, and there's no other changes. So whatever, take it for whatever it's worth. It was a fun race. I do hope you enjoy it. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next. I will probably do Watkins Glen because I had fun in the Fox body. I did not do so well in the Fox body, but you know what? It's a learning process. This is kind of a little bit more, I would say, different than my experiences with Gran Turismo, but some of it does still transfer over. So I just had some poor settings in the Fox body that I will definitely be tinkering with that Fox body some more. But I think the next run will be these things at Watkins Glen. If it was this crazy at Daytona, I can only imagine what it's going to be like at Watkins Glen, or maybe even Sonoma, to have a little bit of fun with these. Like I said, very equal playing field, totally well worth the run, and I can't wait to race the thing again. So this right here is what I was talking about for chasing down the draft. I had a window there with that black car in front of me, and they ducked in line there on the outside, and I ended up having to fall back as I had lost the possibility of a draft there on the inside. Again, nothing against the game or whatever. It's still a very fun game. I think it would have been a heck of a lot funner. There we go, a little bit of getting somebody loose, but trying to swing to the outside, keep the momentum up. But to have another car that you could just get in there and do a 2-car tandem with and just stay linked nose to tail, I think could have been a very fast march to the front. And it definitely would not have taken 20 laps to finish third. So, still fun no matter what. Still had a blast. So that was the move that I was telling you guys about, where I just tried to keep the momentum up and split the middle kind of forcefully, but I ended up losing the draft of the lead car. And so P2, I ended up having to give up P2 and go back to P3 in order to try to draft off of them to make the push to the front. But it was still, all in all, not that bad of a run. Still reliant on that two-car tandem, the two-car tango, whatever you want to call it. I think it would have been worth my while. I do not, just from my PlayStation days, I actually do not race in this view, believe it or not. This is just the view I'm settling on for the replay. I typically do the hood view. That's just what I've been accustomed to since, I started doing NASCAR games back, when NASCAR 98 had come out, and you could go to the, race menu, and it was R1, R2, L1, L2, and triangle, and it would activate the damn paintballs, and you could just drive around and paintball other NASCAR cars. But gosh, that was a long time ago. But it's just the view I've always used. So just what I'm accustomed with. Plus, on my PC build here, I'm not using a big monitor, so this view when racing, it just creates further distance, so you feel more disconnected of not being able to see that much in front of you, since you're using a wheel and you're already sitting pretty far back from the computer anyways. So, but we're getting there. So this right here was my push. Just trying to get up to the leader. See, there we are. I'm having to chase the car in front of me down just to stay in the draft. And you can see behind me, the cars behind me are doing the exact same thing. Just could not get them to stay in their lines. I think if we would have had, my goodness, I think if we would have had maybe another lap, I could have closed the gap enough I could have snagged on to the first place draft and left third out to dry, but it is what it is. So this was definitely some fun racing, especially like I was saying, well, there we go, pushing him down to the bottom. This race was really fun. The over the hood view doesn't offer me any mirrors, so I was kind of just driving by the seat of my pants. I'm lucky I didn't get spun or dumped or anything like that, even though rightfully so it would have been deserved for not using the mirrors, but I just got fortunate. So right here's the checkered flag, and I do hope you all enjoyed the video.